Hey guys, so I just wanted to sit down and talk with you a little bit about my miscarriage. And I haven't talked about this in so long, but I don't know, I have been thinking about it a lot lately, and I know that it is one of the reasons why I haven't been posting on YouTube as much. I guess there's this thought that when you have a miscarriage, that sure, you're gonna be sad about it and it's okay to grieve it, but at the due date and a year later, or whatever other little milestones come along, you still have a tough time, and that's okay. I recently passed what would have been the due date for my miscarriage, and that was supposed to be end of July, early August, and the whole month of July leading up to it, I was having a really hard time. And then in August I was like, okay, so we've passed the due date, like let's just kind of get back on the horse, let's do this. And I just really couldn't. And I feel like I don't know, I almost felt like there wasn't anybody that I could turn to talk to about it, and maybe nobody wanted to hear about it anymore, but I still needed time to heal, I guess. So a lot of you guys know that pregnancy was not planned. And if you haven't, if you don't know that I went through a miscarriage like a year ago, you can watch all of those things. I'll link them down below. I talked about what had happened and I have given a couple of updates, but so that pregnancy wasn't planned. It was definitely something that was unexpected. But when I saw a heartbeat on an ultrasound, and when I got past the 6-week mark, we started to make room in our hearts and in our lives for a new baby. And there is nothing more sad, I think, than when you start to make these plans. I've envisioned my youngest now being an older brother, and I envisioned how my daughter was going to be 2 years older, because she had experience now with a baby in the house, and how she was going to be. And I don't know, the whole thing just made me feel a rush of emotion. So the first one, I guess, was I felt grief, and I still feel that grief, and I still feel a lot of sadness around it. And it's weird because I'll get kind of triggered by things that I didn't think that I would. Even still, I'll see someone who had their baby around the time when I was due, or when I would see pregnant women who were around the same gestation that I was, and it doesn't make me feel anything more, I guess, than my heart just drops into my feet. And at that moment I realized, yeah, I'm still grieving this. And I'm actually surprised that I'm still grieving it, because it wasn't planned. And I guess part of that is because I've gotten a lot of flack online for what I said. People misconstrued what I said. People thought that I didn't want the baby, and that is not the case. Just because a child is a surprise or is not planned doesn't mean that they are not wanted. It would have been a big challenge in our life, honestly, to rearrange everything. It would have been, we would have needed to buy a different house. We would have potentially needed to, buy different baby clothes, because most of the baby clothes that we had at that time were boy gender. And of course you can put, whatever clothes on whatever gender, but we would have had to potentially buy more clothes. We would have potentially had to just kind of rearrange things, and it was just a lot. So it wasn't at all that baby wasn't wanted, because when I saw those 2 lines on that test, I was that child's mother, and I am still that child's mother, even though they are not in my arms. And when you see, and I don't know about you guys, when you take a pregnancy test, but for me, when I take a pregnancy test and I see 2 lines, I feel a rush of emotions no matter what. Whether it's a planned pregnancy, whether it's an unplanned pregnancy, whether it is under any other circumstances, I feel a rush of emotions, and all of those emotions that I felt are okay and they are valid. And if you are someone who had a miscarriage from an unplanned pregnancy, or maybe the miscarriage should have been a relief in your life, but it's maybe not a relief, or it's a relief in some way and it's not a relief in others, I just want to tell you that your feelings are 100% valid, because I was that child's mother, but that doesn't mean that I didn't feel a sense of, okay, well, I don't have to rearrange these things. I don't have to do these things, which was both a blessing and a moment of grief. If you are someone out there, please don't let other people in the world dictate how you are supposed to feel. Everyone is going to handle a miscarriage differently. Everyone's thoughts and feelings are going to be different, and that's okay. Some people, I think, can move on really quickly, and I think it comes with every miscarriage, because I don't know if you guys know, but I've had 2 other what I would consider miscarriages. So one was like a 4.5-week chemical pregnancy. Basically means that it like showed up on a pregnancy test once on a very faint line, and then it didn't show up on another pregnancy test, and I got like a very heavy clotty period in my next period. And then I also had a 6-week loss prior to this. At that 6-week loss, I didn't have any history of any, miscarriages or anything, so I didn't have any early ultrasounds. So I don't know if there was a heartbeat or not, but this time I did see a heartbeat, and I personally feel like that is what makes me feel so like devastated by this loss. When I didn't see a heartbeat, I think I was able to kind of rationalize it, the whole, there might have been a chromosomal abnormality. This child might not have survived, life outside of the womb. And maybe this one wouldn't have either. But I also had so much other stuff going on that it's just like, I don't know, all of the what ifs. Like, what if I wouldn't have had a burst cyst? What if I would have been, in a non-stressful situation? Because Brian and I, I don't know if you guys have been following my story. If you haven't, if this is like your first video, my husband and I were in a really weird place when I got pregnant, and that's another reason why it wasn't ideal. But I wonder if I hadn't have been under all of that stress and able to be, just really excited with everyone about it, would things have been different? And I think it's tough. I know that it's not good for me. I know it's not good for the situation to continue to just, think about these things. But I think that these are things that I'm going to think about until forever, I guess. And then the other part that's been really tough for me is making the decision that we were not going to have any more kids, and making that a really final decision. What I went through during that miscarriage was not only taxing on my heart, but it was some of the most physically taxing things and the most pain that I have ever been in. And I've had an unmedicated induced birth, so I've been in a lot of pain before, but the burst cyst and just the miscarriage itself and how long it took was just so much on my body that I cannot risk my emotional state. I cannot risk my physical state, even if I'm, still good to have kids. I don't know that. I don't know if my body would be healthy to carry a pregnancy again. I don't know that. So that's just something that I can't risk. I also do know that Brian and I, we work crazy schedules. We both are full-time working people, and we think that it's unfair to add a 3rd child. We are so busy with our 2 kids, with our work, with keeping up around our house, with our hobbies, with our family. It's just a lot. And to try to even fathom having a minute to sit down and breastfeed an infant in everything that we have going on, it's a lot. So I think that realization that we are 100% done having kids has also maybe intensified the miscarriage feelings, because when I had my miscarriages before, I knew that we were trying for a baby. We were trying so hard to get Harrison, and eventually I was going to be able to show myself that I could heal from this and my body could do what it was supposed to do. In this case, I don't have that option to be like, well, we can just have another baby. And part of me mentally wanted to get pregnant again. And I think I went through a lot of inner turmoil with that. And the main reason was honestly just to be able to show myself that, you know, yeah, you're not broken. Your body didn't fail you. Because I've been, you know, I'm this very confident person, this very body positive person and presence on the internet. But when your body doesn't do what it is biologically meant to do, it can really kind of mess with any kind of confidence that you have. And it messed with me, and it messed with my connection with my body. I blamed my body. I blamed myself a lot for this miscarriage. I told myself that my body had failed, and it was tough. It's been a really tough process. I don't know, I guess I feel like I'm kind of rambling, but being around like the due date time and then like the 1 year mark from when I had the miscarriage, like physically went through it, it's a lot on my heart right now. And it's kind of like, I don't want to cry on camera. I'm trying really hard not to, but I'm just kind of back in that place mentally. Like, I'm just really bummed about it. And it's been really hard to get on YouTube and like want to be smiley and be in my planner and do the, you know, cleaning videos without being real and raw with you guys. And honestly, like, I didn't want to sit down and make this video. I didn't want to tell you guys that I'm still sad that a baby with a heartbeat like went out of my body way before it was supposed to. I didn't want to say that. And I felt like I had been getting so much like resistance, I guess, from some, and I'm not even gonna say so much, because a lot of you guys, most of you guys have been so supportive and so sweet, and you have just like lifted me up and you have told me all of these kind things, and for that I will be forever grateful. But I think it's really difficult to not focus on things when people say that you shouldn't be sad because you reacted a certain way. And that really did have an effect on me. And I was like, well, should I be sad? Like, do I deserve to be sad? Do I deserve to grieve a pregnancy that wasn't planned, that I miscarried? Like, should I have ever said anything at all? But to me, like, no matter what, like, that pregnancy wasn't planned, but my daughter wasn't either. My daughter wasn't planned, and I cannot imagine my life without her. She is, you know, she's one of my greatest joys in my entire life. And to know that I don't have an opportunity to be a parent to a child that I saw with a heartbeat is tough. It's really tough. And it's hard for me to rationalize like why the miscarriage happened. Like, was it a chromosomal abnormality? If it was why was it after the heartbeat? Like, why did the baby develop a heartbeat? There's just so many questions. And I feel like this video is very similar to my previous miscarriage update, because I just still have all of these unanswered questions that I just want answers to, that I'm pretty much never going to have answers to. So I guess my purpose for creating this video though was for other mothers who have had miscarriages, and people have told you that you are not valid for having feelings of grief, maybe when it's not planned, or when you feel alongside that grief like somewhat of a relief. Like, a relief isn't the right word exactly. I don't even know how to describe it. Even though this wasn't planned, I was all in. It took me a while to get there, and it took my family a while to get there, but we were all in. I was planning doctor's appointments around my work schedule. I was figuring out where the baby would sleep and when we would have to move houses, or would Delilah have to move downstairs to, like, it would basically be like a sweet teenage room anyways, because there's like a bathroom down there and a huge space. But would she move down there, and would the two little kids like have a room? Like, all of these thoughts were in my mind, and I was just figuring out how to rearrange my life, and then that was taken from me. So while that baby wasn't planned, that doesn't mean that it wasn't loved. But alongside that, I know that our lives are so full with the kids that we have currently that we would have really struggled trying to not divide the love, because that comes so naturally, but really divide the time. I think basically our family situation would have just been really tough, and especially with Brian and I being in such a tough place, that wouldn't have given any opportunity for us to focus on us like we've been doing. And so it's not necessarily a relief because I still feel so much heartache. And like I said, I still get so triggered by things that I don't even expect to. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. Miscarriage is tough because you're in this weird limbo place. And I think, I don't know, people expect people whose children die to be able to grieve them for as long as they need. And I feel like people even give a little bit more respect to people who have had stillbirth. Although I've seen people say rude things to people who have had stillbirth as well. Like, you're not over this yet, but it just seems like there's not enough time to grieve that's socially acceptable when you've had a miscarriage. And I don't think anybody gets it unless they are in that situation or they've been in the situation. So yeah, this has really kind of turned my world upside down, and I've just been really struggling with it. And I think that, at least I'm hoping that the holidays will kind of turn it around, and I'm hoping that I won't feel just like this gut punch all the time about it. I have been bringing it up to our counselor. Brian and I do still go to marriage counseling, which is amazing, but I don't know. It's just, I'm in this weird place where I am still grieving, and I think that I'm grieving really heavily right now. It's like a pretty heavy grief wave, as my good friend online Amy says. Yeah, it's just a really heavy grief wave right now, and I don't feel like anybody understands, and I feel like people, I don't know, I don't know, I don't feel like anybody gets it, and I feel like little things trigger me that I wish didn't, and that's where I'm at with it. And if you're in the same boat, if you miscarried up to a year ago, even more than that, like, let me know if you still have grief moments and if nobody gets it, because I get it, and this is a place where you could like spill your guts in the comments. I'm not making this video to, you know, look for any sympathy, but basically I just wanted to give you an update because I get questions about, you know, how I'm doing with it even still, which is so sweet and so kind. But I just wanted to let everybody know that it's been really affecting my life, and I'm trying so hard to get back on track. I'm trying so hard to focus on what I am grateful for and what I have and the good things in my life, but this is just really, it's kind of eaten up my heart lately. This is definitely not for sympathy. It's almost therapeutic for me to sit in front of a camera and talk about it, and it kind of lets you guys in a little bit on what might be going on for me. So my goal is to get back to posting on a regular schedule. I am really excited to post a lot of holiday content for you guys. It's gonna be tough, and I want to be back daily, but I might not be. I'm gonna post as often as I possibly can. I'm actually thinking maybe like a 5-day schedule. So if you want to, you can leave me down in the comments like which day of the week do you mostly watch videos, and I can kind of add a 5-day schedule there, so it gives me kind of a 2-day, not a break, but like just some room to breathe. And yeah, so I am glad to be back, and I'm glad to see your comments and all of your sweet faces, and I am pretty active over on Instagram, so if you want to follow me over there, I'll leave that stuff all down below. But thank you guys for all of your love and support. I love each and every one of you, and I hope that you guys all know that. Yeah, I'm not going to do my regular sign out for this video because it doesn't really feel appropriate, but I just want to say thank you. Thank you for all of your support, and thank you for being such an amazing community. Thanks, guys.